Welcome back to the final part of the series, where I'm trying to see if I could realistically beat Minecraft as just a person. In the last two parts, I found a village, managed to locate an axe, crafted some basic tools using that, and went to the Nether. Afterwards, I explored the Nether, dying a few times along the way, managed to collect plenty of blaze rods, and got some ender pearls as well. Now we're back here at home, and ready to get this challenge finished. The goal of this video is to successfully find a stronghold, make our way into the end, and defeat the Ender Dragon. However, to make that happen, there's quite a few things we'll need to do. First off, I'm lacking quite a bit in the armor department, so we're gonna have to go mining to find some iron. That'll also let me upgrade my tools and craft a shield, which is long overdue. Additionally, a bow and arrows are a must for the dragon fight, so I'll be looking for those as we go. Once all of that is collected, I'll craft my Eyes of Ender and head toward the stronghold. Last thing before kicking off this challenge, I have two changes to discuss that came from community polls. First off, I asked you guys if I should be allowed to water bucket clutch, and given how often the Ender Dragon sends a soaring, that could be game changing. Ultimately, 68% of you said yes, however, I'll still keep track of how many times it's utilized if anyone sees it as invalid. Second, and more exciting, is shaders. For the first time ever, I downloaded a shaders pack, and 79% of us said that we should make the switch. For this final part, we'll really embrace the real world elements by upping the look of the game, and if you're curious about the other rules, I'll go ahead and put them here. But without further ado, let's get into it. Before starting to upgrade my gear, I want to start with a bit of housekeeping. I chopped down some of the nearby trees to clear some space, then smelted up some charcoal to make torches. I'd really like to light this area up to avoid another mob incident. Afterwards, I went and collected some more hay to make bread, since I was low on food, and made another chest for additional storage. Then I crafted up some new tools since I was running low and put those away. With all of that taken care of, I mined some nearby coal, pretty amazed honestly by the size of this vein, and explored a little bit looking for a good place to start caving. I did check out the giant nether portal cave, and wanted to see if it'd be a good option, but I don't want to go too deep until I actually have a shield. My current plan is to just explore some surface level patches until I find some easily accessible iron, and once I make a shield, I'll go from there. With the night coming though, I went back to sleep, ready for a big adventure tomorrow. Admiring the view and making my way back over, I checked a few of the random mini caves scattered across the surface in hopes of finding at least one iron, but sadly that didn't happen. What I did find while adventuring was a skeleton though. Yay. Without even seeing it initially, I took an arrow, and since I don't have any armor on, that's an immediate death on the attempt counter. I tried to stand my ground, but sadly took one more death in the process. So, if nothing else, this just reinforced why I need a shield so badly. Peeking down into the big cave though, I did see some iron, so I committed to just heading down and trying to nab at least a little bit of that safely before getting out. Unfortunately though, this game hates me. And again, I was shot by a skeleton, and this one was just placed in such a stupid little nook that it was just unlucky. I don't know. I ran past safely the second time and got to searching. I did see the iron I found earlier, but it was way below us, so I opted instead to just take my staircase and look around for something easier. To my surprise, there was some readily available in the staircase I'd already made, so I guess I just forgot about it. I successfully collected my first 8 iron and headed back to the surface ready to make a shield and some armor. Getting back, I got the iron smelted, organized my chest a little bit, and went to bed. The following morning felt absolutely amazing. I crafted a shield and some iron leggings, finally able to get my armor to 2.5 bars. That means that when I'm hit by fatal attacks, I can roll my dice to see if I survive. The odds aren't fantastic, but it's still better than instant death, so I'm happy about that. Heading back down, I was feeling a bit more invincible. And apparently wrongly so, because due to my poor reaction time, I was hit by a zombie, basically immediately. Since I have 2.5 out of the 10 armor bars, we'll convert that to 5 out of 20, and say that anything above a 5 kills me. For a first roll, that was a natural 20, which means I am absolutely dead here. But whatever, that's fine. Once I got into the open area, I started lighting stuff up and mining some more iron. Ideally, I'm aiming to leave here with enough to craft at least a full set of armor, if not a little more for tools. Heading toward the next patch, I was ambushed by skeletons, but this time I was ready. Pulling the shield out in time, I pitted them against one another until only one was left, and finished him off quickly. I kept mining some iron in the immediate area, killing mobs as they came, and managed to get 14 more from the space. Also, as much as I hate risking dealing with skeletons, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't nice to be collecting those arrows. Exploring the other side of this place, I dealt with a couple zombies until I heard that dreaded sound. Oh no.
Oh no!
I immediately pulled up the shield and went on the defensive, chipping away slowly whenever I got an opening. Amazingly, I walked away from this fight with only one hit, which I'm not even upset about. Let's go ahead and roll to see that I got an 8. Still a death, but I'll have armor soon, so it's okay. I explored that side a little bit more, showing off my absolute gamer skills, killing a few more mobs, and ultimately decided to not venture too much farther. This part is just way too open, and it's not worth risking continued brawls like this, so I collected some of the stray iron and looked for a thin tunnel, which I found. Exploring inside, I found an absolute gold mine, or maybe I should say iron mine. You get what I'm saying. And here I managed to get nearly 30 iron, which is absolutely nuts. And additionally, I didn't even encounter a single mob, which was perfect. Feeling satisfied, I headed out, having to face both a zombie at the bottom and a creeper at the top, before making the scary run back home. As much as I hate traveling by night, I was pumped up to get this armor set made, so I just kept at it. Evading zombies and creepers, I did eventually get home and slept for the night. The next morning, I got my iron smelting, made some sticks, and watched the flames in eager anticipation. I don't want to jinx it, but things are finally looking up for a change. Crafting a whole set of armor, we brought ourselves up to 7.5 armor bars, which feels amazing. There's still a chance for mobs to kill me, but the odds of that are way lower now, requiring a roll of 16 or above. I went ahead and crafted some basic iron tools as well, crafted a few arrows, collected the rest of my iron, and started thinking about my next steps. Before setting out to find the Stronghold, we need to gather everything necessary for the Ender Dragon fight. So let's talk about that for a minute and see what our options are. Regarding the fight itself, I'm primarily planning to use a sword or axe for the physical hits, and a bow for the long range. In that sense, I'll need to just craft a bow and some more arrows, which isn't too bad. But the true issue comes in the form of the towers. Ever since I started this challenge over a month ago, I've been thinking through my options for how to realistically deal with taking out the crystals. Let's talk through a few of them. The most classic option is just pillaring up, but that won't work since I can't carry blocks. A similar method is spamming water buckets up the side of the tower, but I'm not Steve, and I can't swim vertically up flowing water. So let's get a little bit more creative. I went through some of the potion options and didn't find anything that'd be too helpful, but then I considered ender pearls. Honestly, these things are just insanely useful. Playing around with them in a testing world, they could easily allow me to get up and back down towers without needing to utilize a water bucket either, which would be awesome to avoid. Similarly, they'll let me get from the spawn to the main island, which could be an issue I honestly hadn't even considered. The only real issues that could occur would be landing directly on a crystal and blowing up, but as long as I take a couple out from the ground level, I could easily pop up and shoot the surrounding towers. If one is too far away, I can just ender pearl over to a different one for a better shot. For this strategy to actually work, I'll need a lot of arrows, which I'll take care of now, and I could just collect the necessary pearls in the end. There's no way I'm ever going back to the Nether for those. That was terrible. So let's get going. All that stands between me and this portal is just a few spiders and a whole lot of chickens. I searched for quite a while, but unfortunately didn't have any luck in the immediate vicinity. That means I'll have to likely widen the search radius quite a bit, and since the sun was setting, I started headed back home. However, I decided not to sleep tonight in hopes of killing a few spiders. After taking care of a few nearby mobs, I finally spotted a spider up on the hill and made my way toward it. The first kill went wonderfully, and I set out looking for another, and in doing so, got a 2-for-1 deal. I've wanted something rideable for ages, and here it finally was, right by the house. To stagger the mood a bit though, my shield was not working well for some reason, and I took 5 hits here from the spider. Literally ridiculous. Since this is a spider biting at me with fangs, I'll roll for all of them, but I decided to do it at the end of the night since, guess what? There's plenty more rolls where that came from. Spider 3 also managed to hit me 2 times, and immediately after killing the skeleton, caught me off guard and got a solid shot in. Also, this guy was literally a special ops member or something, because he made it so hard to kill him, constantly zigzagging and avoiding me. Exploring around a bit more, I finally found my last spider in the form of a spider jockey. But I'm not going to give up this opportunity, so I took it on. Amazingly, I escaped unscathed, and this other spider gave me a hand in taking out the skeleton. I did take one more hit unfortunately, but I'm done here, which is a relief. I shouldn't have to do any more mob fighting at night, and recounting all the incidents, I have 9 dice to roll. My odds are way better sure for survival, but I still don't love them. In quick succession, we got a 10, 3, 12, 3, 14, 3, 11, 12, and 17. Again, I needed a 16 or higher to receive a death, so I escaped this only adding 1 attempt to the counter, which was pretty amazing. The next morning, I crafted up my bow, and I also decided to make a bundle. I don't plan on actually using it, but for those of you curious how I'm holding 18 loaves of bread, I at least have a backpack now to justify it. After that, I headed out with the saddle in hopes of taming this donkey. Honestly, I'm actually thrilled that it's a donkey rather than a horse, since the movable chest will be extremely useful. When I leave to find the Stronghold, being able to take additional tools and resources is going to be invaluable. Anyways, I found him, tamed him, and named him Spunky. The chicken hunting went way faster with this advanced method of movement now, but I did get a little unclucky on the first 2, but finally managed to get a feather with the third. I traveled the entire close area for the rest of the day, relatively unclucky, and still making little progress. That being said, it is still reassuring that all I need is just a few more feathers and flint before I'm good to go. And so I traveled around and just kept killing chickens, and killing chickens, and killing more chickens. And after literally forever, I got 24 feathers and called it good. If I run out of arrows in the end, so be it. I'm done with this. After dropping the feathers off at home, I went to the mine one last time to find some gravel. Again, this was just a super tedious process of break, place, over and over and over again until my shovel broke. Overall, I ended up with 21 flint, which is pretty solid. I was able to craft about a stack and a half of arrows, and at this point we were ready to start loading up Spunky. I got some more coal just for safe measure, crafted up some extra iron tools, grabbed a bed from the village, and put my bow and arrows in. Finally, I crafted up my Eyes of Ender, cementing myself as ready to leave. It's time to go, Spunky. We're ready. Or at least we basically are. It's literally midday, so I'd rather just wait till the next morning to avoid being out at sundown. So I grabbed a little hay in case I needed to guide Spunky, hung out with him for a bit, and then went to bed before leaving the next morning. Throwing our first pearl, it flew west, and so off we went. This travel went way smoother with Spunky's help, and after a while, I threw another pearl that we sadly lost. However, it at least told us that we were still on the right path, so we kept going. Later on, I threw another, and the trajectory changed quite a bit. That means we're really close. Also, it was at this point that I realized donkeys don't actually follow hay. So, hey, I learned something new, I guess. Anyways, with one final pearl going the opposite direction, I knew we were here. I decided to set up a base on the other side of the area since it had trees to work with, and built a micro base before heading to bed. Or at least I would have head to bed if I could find Spunky. I turned around for 5 seconds and he just vanished. After a couple minutes of panicked looking, I finally found him and brought him back, getting a good night's sleep. The next morning, I finished building our base, got Spunky comfortable, and began mining downwards. I'm sure we'll run into a few small issues like this water patch, but we're here and all that's left to do is dig, activate the portal, and kill this dragon. After digging for quite a while, I finally hit deep slate, and going a little bit further, I found a mine shaft as well. As cool as this is, it wouldn't really serve any practical purpose, so I continued on, and finally hit stone bricks. Here we are. Entering the Stronghold, I had quite a few options to explore, so I started looking around. To note the important parts, I found 3 different chests, ultimately containing 3 ender pearls and 2 diamonds. Additionally, I fought quite a few mobs, unfortunately taking 3 skeleton shots throughout the whole process. Rolling the dice though, that's a 10, 9, and an 8. Kind of funny that those were all in immediate succession, but also fantastic that I didn't take any attempts here. Finally, after looking basically everywhere, I found the portal room. I took out the silverfish spawner immediately, lit up the immediate area, and looked to see how many eyes were needed. And you won't believe how lucky I got. With only 1 eye provided, I'd need 11. Between the 9 we already had and the 3 ender pearls found in the chest, I could craft up the other 2 while still keeping 1 pearl for accessing the main island. I placed all but 1, knowing that next time I came in here, I'd be jumping. Going back upstairs, I reformatted my inventory, crafted a diamond sword, made a new shield, got a water bucket, and said goodbye to Spunky in this beautiful world. If everything goes well, I shouldn't be seeing this view again. Let's head down and finish this. Approaching the portal, I inserted the final eye and mentally prepared myself before jumping in. Immediately, I was relieved to find out that rather than spawning on an obsidian island, I was instead underground. This would give me a much better base of operations, so we started mining up. In awe of the surroundings, I was immediately put off guard and hit by an enderman. Right after that, I was again caught off guard and hurt by the dragon's breath. Rolling for both of those, I got a 10 and an 18, which means I do have to add a death for the dragon's breath, but based on how hard it hit me, that seems completely fair. Anyways, once the breath faded, I ran toward the towers and began taking them out one by one. The 2 shortest towers were able to be taken out from the base, and afterwards I ran to the other side to get a better perspective. Taking out the final cage crystal, I ender pearled up to hopefully take out the rest of the crystals on the surrounding towers. Nailing the landing perfectly, I took aim, and one by one the towers fell. Although I missed a few times, I knew how important these shots were to land, and as you can see, I really locked in. Hearing the dragon though, I turned around at the last second, missing that I had hit the final tower, but was too distracted to celebrate as a blast hit me head on. Based on the amount of damage I took here, I'm going to go ahead and just net this as an immediate death and keep going. I ender pearled out of danger and ran away, evading multiple other blasts until finally making it back to my hole. Before fully taking on the dragon, I figured it'd be best to get a few ender pearls on hand. That way, if I was launched up or away from the island, I could save myself and teleport back. After taking out a few endermen, I collected 4 and called it good, because now it was time to fight. Running back toward the dragon, I again dodged an attack and took my first shot. Out of practice with the bow, I missed quite a few of them, but managed to finally hit my first solid blow. After that, I kept dodging attacks and hammering away, slowly getting better with each aim every single time. Again, I don't have many arrows, so I need to make every single one count. After what felt like forever, I finally got her to perch for the first time, but only managed to get a few hits in before she escaped. To rub salt in the wounds as well, I wasn't able to get close enough for the second perch and took 2 solid hits, netting me a single death after rolling a back-to-back natural 20 and 1. Immediately after, she perched again, and before I could react, I took 2 more hits, but based on the 12 and 14 rolled, we're all good. After that, I did my best to just camp out inside the portal, hitting her whenever I could with the sword, but otherwise chipping away with the bow. It was slow but steady, and I became way more deadly with the bow toward the end of the fight. With few arrows left, and her health bar dangerously low, she perched one final time. Swinging frantically, I got the final hit in and freed the end. This challenge would finally be over. It's time for me to return to the real world, so I jumped in the portal. And here we are, back home. So, could I realistically beat Minecraft as just a person? Yes, but it would require a lot of luck and skill. Even playing with as much caution as possible, you can see that my attempt counter was pretty high still. That being said, it's technically possible. You just have to avoid a lot of the stuff. Also, if I were to do this again, I'd make a few changes like getting a shield earlier, and that probably would have reduced the number quite a bit, but still obviously not to 0. Regardless, we're done with the series and ready to move on to some other stuff. Since I'm a teacher, summer is starting soon, and so I am trying to do weekly videos moving forward. I'll look forward to some more Minecraft stuff, as well as hopefully Terraria content starting soon. Talk to you guys later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.